This show is supported by Odoo. When you buy business software from lots of vendors, the costs add up and it gets complicated and confusing. Odoo solves this. It's a single company that sells a suite of enterprise apps that handles everything from accounting to inventory to sales. Odoo is all connected on a single platform in a simple and affordable way. You can save money without missing out on the features you need. Check out Odoo at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.
Hey, everybody, Scoot. This is Scoot. This Scoot's message goes out to you. If you already support the show on Sleep With Me Plus, you should not be hearing this message. And if you listen all night long or you fall asleep fast, these kind of messages may get in your way of the show. But if you already support the show, make sure all your Sleep With Me Plus feeds are set up in a podcast app. Because if you're hearing this, you're listening to the ad-supported version of the show, which is hosted in a different place than our Sleep With Me Plus content, which has no ads. You get those full ad-free episodes. You get ad-free story-only episodes. You get all the bonus episodes, Boar Friends and Boar Besties. You get those all-night audiobook-style compilations, postage super deluxe episodes, all intro episodes. So please take some time to set it up. All you need to do is go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus, log into your account, and add all the podcasts to your podcast app. If you need more help, reach out to our support team, support@supercast.com. And if ad-free full episodes or ad-free story-only episodes, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them sound like they'd fit your listening style better, try a 7-day trial. sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus or get surprised by Scoots. Thanks, everybody. Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time to journey to a mall. Where did the word mall even come from? I just realized I have no idea. Mall, M-A-L-L, M-all, mall. Is mall short for something? I don't think so. I'll have to look it up. But welcome to Sleep With Me. You say nothing boring than a person contemplating the meaning of we know what mall means. They say, well, it's kind of changed to shopping mall. We know what that means, but even that's changed in the past 20 years. Pretty big, right? Like, now it's like, I don't know. So you say, I thought this was a podcast that put me to sleep. And I say, yeah, welcome to Sleep With Me. It is a podcast that puts you to sleep. I'm glad you're here. Regular listeners, I'm so glad to have you back. Yeah, this is a strange show. It does take some getting used to. First couple times, most people don't like the podcast because it's different than what you expected. I'm more here to be a friend and to keep you company and just to distract you so you could fall asleep. So see how it goes. If you already know, this is pretty early on in the show. If you already know you can't stand me or the podcast or the concepts, sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. Has other sleepy stuff you could check out, other podcasts and sleepy stuff. Check that out. But yeah, welcome to Sleep With Me. What's going to come up? We got a support coming up, a sponsor support, so you can listen for free. Then a long, meandering intro meant to ease you into bedtime. And then after that, a bedtime story to take your mind off of stuff and put you to sleep. So I'm glad you're here. And, thanks for coming by. And these sponsors are how we're able to do for you for free twice a week. All right, everybody, it's time for our episodically modular series. All the names of other series are popping in my head. This one's called Multiplex. And it's about a group of friends at a mall after hours, going around helping people that are in the mall, and they're on their own adventure. In episode, if you're new to this Sleep With Me or this series, episodically modular means you can kind of listen to these in any order, which means while this might be right in the middle of the season-ish, you could listen to this episode. This would be a good episode to listen to. Then you could listen to the first 6 episodes and it'll kind of give you a clearer idea how we got here. Or, you could listen to them in order too, but you could just barely listen. If you say, well, this is episode 7, I'm not sure about that. Here's the thing. You could just barely listen to this episode, then listen to them in order. So that's another sweet thing about being a sleep podcast and having something that's episodically modular with a touch of seriality. This one, touch of seriality, really means a lot. It was funny. I didn't realize that was kind of a pun for Multiplex. So yeah, you can listen to them in any order. What's going to happen next is the main character is going to, I guess like the main character. I see her, like I have a daughter, so she always says, uses main character vibes. But I say the main character probably should have main character vibes. So main character, or the narrator at least, will catch us up on everything. So yeah, and I'm so lucky and so grateful to be here with someone who comes all the way from the greater Los Angeles area or wherever they happen to be working. And I don't do a great job of scheduling these either. So, I mean, just kind of, not even kind of like a superhero. This person, like, as far as sleep podcasts go, like, I guess that would make me, like, I would be the one in the way of, so this is Antonio Banderas, but Antonio's like literally sitting around, and then he basically gets an alert, like the sleep signal, and it says, Antonio, drive or fly, get yourself to the Bay Area. And it's like within the next, I try to give him 8 hours notice, but like with about an 8-hour buffer, depending on my mood, my procrastination, my chores, other type things. Sometimes it can be 8 to 48 hours. Did you know, like, Antonio and I may share a hotel room? No, he's laughing. No. Oh, I just thought I'd put it out there. So that was a no on that one. But anyway, so Antonio, like, then comes here just for the love of sleep. Like, okay, the sleep signal's been posted. Scoots needs me. Scoots, the listeners who sleep with me need me, really. The only thing standing between me and the sleep with me listeners' good sleep is Scooter and his incredibly high standards of expecting me to get there, like being on call. I mean, one time he did say to me, I'm a celebrity. He didn't really say that. I said it when I was imitating him, but the look on his face said that. I don't mean it like in a braggadocious way. It means I'm a really busy guy. But I think he's always like, he did say something about me, like my inability to read between the lines. Something about me that I color outside lines, but I can't read between the lines. But I can't quote he's a man I can barely paraphrase. But he is a hero to the sleepless listeners out there. It's Mr. Antonio Banderas. The friends behind the binary. So, ladies and gentlemen, the boys and girls, it's time to journey into Multiplex. Click, 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 Z's. Yeah. Thanks, Antonio. Thanks also for that wisdom. I realize I can't, like, I can read between your brows. I can, Antonio, you got a furrow with my name on it, don't you? He's laughing now. It's worth it. It's worth it, right? All right, that's Mr. Antonio Banderas. This is Multiplex. Thanks, everybody. Good evening, everybody. My name's Wyatt, and I'm recording this story or a collection of stories to clear things up. Recently, a public access television show I did a while back got noticed by the internet. Now, you may not be listening to this when that's the case. They posted, they digitized the videos and posted them online. And it's public access, so it's not, I'm not griping. What this is here to clear up, though, is that people tried to note my brilliance in makeup and costuming and who were these performers, my interview style, my writing and directing. But really, I was just sitting there talking to people and interviewing them and showing old movies. And that led me to reflect on this adventure my friends and I had where I may or may not, where I met some of these people that I interviewed, but really where my friends and I learned, because we were flying higher than, who's that kid with the wings? Icarus. But we were flying close to the sun, but not too close to the sun, I believe, the way our trajectories were. And so we were high flyers, high achievers. And we had a path laid out for us, and it wasn't an intimidating path. It was we were driven, right? Each driven by our own, what we had aptitude for. And we thought we would head out on this path, headstrong, strapping of boots and all that. And that's where we were. We were all young, and I guess, I don't know what it means to be full of vim and vigor, but I do know that phrase could have been used to describe myself and my two best friends, San and Josie. Probably not the fourth person on our venture, Boyd, the corncob kid. I'm Wyatt, by the way. Sometimes I call myself Boyd. I don't know. I get mixed up. It's been a long time. And, I felt the need to preserve these memories. But we went on an adventure, which I guess was heroic, that taught us that some heroes, are in the middle of the pack. Even though the adventure's not like that. I guess that's the irony. It was a real adventure. I mean, I guess for us it was. But the result, the math afterwards calculated out to, maybe we don't need all this. Maybe we don't need to be, the top of the top, and, whatever the rest of the song, whatever on old Broadway. So that's the story. We headed out on this adventure, on a smaller adventure. I had not gotten a scholarship. That was a part of my path towards greatness. And being driven as I was like, well, I'm not going to take no for an answer. But financial limitations were what they were. So I was in a problem-solving mode. My friend said, Wyatt, we got to, get you out of we got to have some fun. So we played a game of mini golf, and towards the end of that game of mini golf, out of a culvert that ran underneath the 6 or 8 lane road that was up above the glen where we played mini golf in, came Boyd, the corncob kid, and Boyd said, on the other side of this culvert's that old mall, Fair Glen or Fairview Mall or something like that. And Boyd said, it's full of this stuff, which was Julius J. Juice concentrate, which Boyd could sell on what would become the internet. At this time, it was just, I don't know if it was the Usenet or not, SnoozeNet, more like it in this story, eh? I was just throwing in a hearty har. So Boyd said, the mall's been closed. Company that owns the mall's out of business, and the company that owned Julius J. Juice is no longer in existence. But this store is full of Julius J. Juice concentrate, which I could sell to people. And there's enough money that'll make us a significant amount of money. And I don't see any quandaries or morals with this. So we went along, and we went to get this concentrated juice out of the mall. And what we found is eventually we got into this shopping mall, and that's when a series of adventures started to take place. Adventures that were kind of beyond our comprehension or understanding. First, one of the world of cutlery or whatever, we encountered a worker, but there's something a bit ethereal about it, and they said, I need your help. Then we encountered, we thought we were in an immersive adventure. Even though back when we were kids, that wasn't really a big thing. There was theater, an underground theater. I mean, now where we lived, cutting edge stuff like this, but we thought it was possible. And so then we encountered what we thought was an animatronic, and they needed our help. Basically, short version, becoming a sock puppet and then getting back into the movie they had been in, which was an old movie, which was playing at the Multiplex. And we found by watching the movie over and over again, we could help this sock puppet get back in the movie at the right time, in the right way, to change the ending of the movie. Because this movie didn't end in a particularly satisfying way for the sock puppet originally. And most of the other times we tried to get them in when they weren't a sock puppet. Eventually we got them back in the movie, and then the movie became a cereal commercial. Then we slept, and we kind of lost track of time. And then we tried to get out of the mall again. We couldn't get out of there. Then we went to Spence's Gifts, where we encountered another worker. Every worker at Spence's Gifts goes by the name Spence. It's a requirement for working there. They said they needed the black lights restocked, and they would help us get out of the mall with their keys. So, and there also everybody that worked at Spence's, at least to us, me and my friends, was super cool. So then we went to the Tiki Transistor Hut to get black lights because Josie used to work there. There we encountered someone named Franny. Now, Franny needed our help, and we weren't going to originally help Franny because we found another way we thought would get us out of the mall, but that didn't work out. Franny was the one who had damaged the black lights at Spence's. So we helped Franny. Franny needed help. It turned out Franny was in a movie. And Franny was in a movie where Franny was supposed to be the ultimate, it was designed to be the ultimate companion by someone named Victor Victoria. And Victor Victoria, in a very selfish way, we had read the book in high school, believe it or not. It was called, Franny's name's in the title. So Victor Victoria, didn't think about what it would be like to be an ultimate companion if you weren't designed in a visually appealing way. And then Victor Victoria didn't really, do a lot of nurturing of Franny. And Franny went out in the world wanting, in the deepest desiring way, to be the ultimate companion for people. And I'm not talking about the sweaty kind of companion, a back sweating kind of companion. I'm talking about somebody that helps you with your laundry, listens to you, pushes you on the swing, goes for a walk, someone that's not your friend. I think that's all Franny wanted to be, was a part of. But because Franny was visually unappealing, because Franny was a construct of different companions, Franny was constantly not being welcomed in. And Franny worked hard. So Franny needed our help. Hey, basically, we want to be accepted by these people in the movie I'm in. Franny didn't know, really. I don't think Franny knew that it was a movie. There's a lot of stuff that's like a little bit ethereal in this story. So we said, okay, we'll try to help you, basically, so we can get the keys, so we can get out of the mall. Ended up that Franny, we tried a bunch of different ideas, and because we said this is a pretty hard problem to solve, right? You want to be, the hardest thing is when you want to be liked, and then the hardest thing to deal with is like when you're being yourself, and you feel like people are like, I'm not so sure about that. It's pretty, Franny was living out something most of us only imagine in a non-positive way. So we really wanted to help Franny. And we did the whole makeover thing, and then we realized a couple different things. Boyd had been through something similar, and and when you work at Spence's also has a non-traditional employee training program that really is one of the kind of a training program that works for people in customer service when people are not positive to you, and to teach you how to kind of be the Spence aesthetic. We thought it just came naturally, and I think it is part of the process of hiring too, but also training to have that Spence attitude, which is, so we kind of tried to take those two things, Boyd's experience in going from corncob kid to the corncob kid, and then what it's like to be a worker at Spence's. And somehow it ended up that what made Franny feel most Franny was being in kind of a funky type, funky dress. I mean like bring the funk. But so that's like, instead of a sock puppet, Franny was kind of like a funky member of a band. And then we got Franny back into Franny's film, which also became at the right time. And then Franny also became a cereal commercial. And that's where we kind of we went back to sleep, and we woke up in another theater. The movie had ended because it had become a commercial. And we woke up again confused. And at this point, we kind of knew I had a plan. We went back to Spence's to get the keys and get out of the mall finally. And I think we were still in at least the majority of the four of us, but also internally, at least I can only speak for myself, but my impression was everybody was still about 53% that this was an immersive experience, even though there was things we didn't understand, and that if we just completed the tasks, we'd be fine. Also, tracking time, because it was a long weekend, we figured right now we had to leave the mall because this would have been the point where we were raised in a pretty we're trusted, right? So it was like around Monday morning of a long weekend that we'd be expected to check in. And so we went back to Spence's, and Spence wasn't there. The worker wasn't there. And we called for Spence. The back door was locked. And then we found a note that said, Spence will be back. Can't find my keys. And we said, wait a second, that was our deal. We would get the black lights that had been damaged by Franny, so that Spence's still had black lights for its black light poster area, which was now functioning. And we would get Spence's keys to be able to leave through the locked door, to go out the back of Spence's. No keys. So we spent a little bit of time looking around Spence's for Spence's keys. And that's frustrating, to be honest, because we said, and where was Spence? Because the mall was not exactly stocked full of people. And then we left and we were yelling for Spence. And we'd kind of already been through this, but each phase of going through this was a little bit more on a dial, increasing towards 10, if you know what I'm saying. And so then we were also disagreeing with each other. We were trying doors. We were throwing things at doors. And I said, wow, this mall is really built. Now, they were built in a different way at this particular time. This mall, well, I can't speak for other malls. So now where we lived, it got cold in the winter. So you needed basically an airlock, a sizable airlock when you entered the mall, where so cold air, but to keep it a climate controlled environment. It got hot in the summertime, right? And then they also had a gate, in addition to two sets of doors, gates that came down. And I guess because it's the irony is we were living every kid's dream. But we were trying to get out at this point, which just said, okay, well, now we know why no kid lived the dream of running around the mall, because it's pretty hard to get in. And we tried to retrace our steps again to go out the way we came in. We couldn't get out that way. The gates were down. And it was the gates of the mall, because then we tried to go back to Julius J. Juice. Couldn't get out that way. So then we tried opening up, we tried everything, because there was some back hallways we could get access to. I just want to get through this part because it wasn't pretty, to be honest. Because everything, we're trying to find phones that worked. That didn't work. Trying to pull, things that would alert people. That was a little too, someone had smoked a cigarette indoors thing. That didn't work. And we were not being very nice to each other, right? Because, you say, whose fault is this? Is it Boyd's? Is it Wyatt's? Why would not then self-pity? We were going through different stages of things. And then finally we like wore ourselves out. Now you might say, Boyd, what were you eating during all this time? It's interesting that, and again, this lended to the thing where there was some comfort, where, okay, we entered a new area of comforting context, because there was always some sort of food stand open and stocked. Now, it wouldn't have been food would have been recommended to be consuming, like, pretzels or whatever, but, or cinnamon buns. Like, when we went from saying, okay, this is obviously like an immersive interactive adventure, you might say, I can't believe that, but you didn't see the movie about April 1st that we had seen multiple times at multiple sleepovers. That was based on this exact idea in a different way. And, they had immersive theaters like, let's all have dinner and solve, they do have this stuff nowadays too. But again, we were really, and the movie was, I guess, remade, but 1st of April, it's called, April Surprise. We'd watched that movie so many times. So he wasn't out of the thing, but now we started to think that maybe this was somebody messing with us, maybe for a TV show, but that wouldn't have been cool. Or, there was other things, who was it? Santos' sister, Griselda. She had at different times been studying for degrees, and she said, hey, let me give you this test. So she had to constantly give us these different tests, where there was like ink blot test or a maze test or answer these questions type tests. So we were like, is this some sort of like larger, is Griselda involved in this? And Santos said, no. So, okay, so basically, at that point, we after we had a little bit of something to eat and drink, and we realized, okay, there's nothing other than getting back. Like right now, we're still taken care of. Like, so this is like, let's just focus. We're the ones making a bigger. We'll figure this out. The 4 of us. So we sat there. And we're under the biggest skylight at the center atrium of the mall with the trees and the water fountains and stuff. And that's when Boyd said, we got to get up there. And then we'll go out the top skylight. We could probably break that one. And then Boyd said, even if we can't, maybe we could get something out of the time, maybe we could get a message out or something. So then we started looking for like ladders and stuff so we could get up there. But were we in for quite a surprise because we said, okay, there was at that one store, there was like scaffolding, right? Because the painters were using that. So we'll go get the scaffolding and we'll take it apart. Or first we tried to push it over, but it was too heavy. So then we said, okay, we'll have to take it apart. And then we said, well, that's really complicated. So let's see if we can find some ladders first. We just happened to be, we were like trying all sorts of doors, trying to figure out where would the ladders be. There's got to be some. But we were going by a store called Cuckoo for Cuckoo Clocks. And at that exact time we were passing the front of the store, every cuckoo clock in the store went off, like to mark like what we thought was noon or midnight. It could have been because it was like one of, when the big 2 hour, I don't know when the big hours for cuckoo clocks were, but this was it. I mean, you thought it was New Year's Eve for cuckoo clocks. And if you've never been focused on finding ladders to get out of a shopping mall as a teen with your friends in an unexpected situation and heard like 400 cuckoo clocks go off without a warning, you'll realize that it kind of causes quite a stir where most of us fell to the ground and held one another until we realized it was cuckoo clocks cuckooing. And it was a thing. Like, and that, I prefer never to be around a cuckoo clock again. But it was, very, we'll talk about a Lazard brain. Holy moly. So we had to recoup from that, right? And we were literally on the ground, the four of us holding each other in different states of dramatic poses. And we said, so then after we kind of had a thing, we laughed about it. I don't know if you've ever been like that, where you're like, and then there's a relief. It was just the cuckoo clocks. Then as a relief kind of like sunk in, and whatever, I think that's like hormones and enzymes and stuff flowing through your body. We were like, we were a little bit dopey, I guess, and we were joking. But then we were like, wait a second, like, is that the first time that it came off? And then Josie said, no, I think I heard the clocks one other time when we were in the Tiki Transistor Hut. And we're like, okay. And then Sam's like, maybe it's a sign. And we're like, yeah, it's a sign that it's like, now it's 5 past something. And Josie said, no. Like, if we're, if everything that's happened so far, what if nothing that's happened so far that we haven't done? Oh, and we got it. Okay, like, so everything that's happening is intentional. Like, okay, they made cinnamon buns and we went towards the cinnamon buns. Nobody was there, but maybe somebody was there before. And then that planted a seed that would pay off later, but it didn't pay off now. You might even be thinking it, but at this point we said, okay. And then we were a little hesitant, because we felt like things had changed a bit, but we went into the Cuckoo Clock store. And, when you go in the Cuckoo Clock store, it's a lot of touching. I mean, especially if nobody's working there. Like, wish we didn't see anybody working there. We did the hello thing. And, you touch the bottoms. They got stuff hanging off them. You touch the things. And then, that's when, some kind of strange realization, like we collaborated on it organically, kind of, which was like, first, as somebody was touching the dials on one of the clocks, so said, are these battery powered or somebody winding them? But somebody said, it's like, it is 5 after 12. And then we said, okay, like 5 after 12, what, 12 noon, I guess, because of the light coming through the skylights. And then Santos looked at his watch and he said, but it's not 12 o'clock. And then we started looking. So this is piecing it together, basically. I'm trying to figure out how we got to the solution we got to. But a couple of the clocks had dates on them, too. And the date was just changed because one of the dates was kind of like stuck in between because the clock was behind. So it was, this particular clock was just changing and the day was just changing. Let's just say from the first of something to the second of something. And the other dates were all on the second. They just switched to the second. Now, why is that important? Other than what I already introduced earlier, which was a digital watch that Santos was wearing, was the fact that if it was let's just say it was March 1st. That was the day we played mini golf, March 1st. And we probably got done at whatever, like 7 p.m. March 1st. And we had been in the mall more than one day. Like, if you're following me, it couldn't be March 2nd. It couldn't have just turned March 2nd because that would have meant we were only in the mall for probably by the time we got to the mall, 7 or 8 o'clock, 4 or 5 hours. And then we realized this Santos's watch. Now, why was that never important to this point? Because that was the only watch or clock we had even thought about. And we had thought about it particularly that day because we realized that on Santos's watch, it was Monday. On the clocks, it was Friday, or Saturday morning. It had gone from Friday night to Saturday morning. Okay, there was a couple other things. One was that Boyd, who seems to be like have some serious deduction, ran back out into the mall when we were discussing what all this meant. Probably that whoever's running the mall was just messing with us. But Boyd ran back out, ran back in. Boyd kept covering his eyes, looking up at the skylights, then told us to come back out, was trying to find paper and other things. Now, we couldn't confirm this, but Boyd was like, I don't think that's natural light out there. And we said, what do you mean, Boyd? Boyd said, I thought there was a rumor like that this mall had like some sort of like artificial sunlight, keep it in the wintertime to keep all the trees growing and stuff. And that these skylights aren't real. Like, remember that? And Boyd said, I think that's just lights up there, like on the skylights coming in. And we said, well, I don't know. It's just one of your things your mind can't quite accept, but for Boyd, it had already switched. So Boyd was convinced that there was high-powered lights shining on the skylights. We were confused. Okay, and then basically, it's hard to describe because this all happened with us figuring... and like, I have certain skills and Santos and Josie have certain skills and Boyd has certain skills and those skills complement one another. And so we got to the point where we realized, that, the times lined up, that basically if we started to replay everything and when we slept, and our estimates of what time we finished mini golf and what time it took us to get to the mall, get in the mall, that time is changed inside the mall. Now, this could have been fake time, right? If we're in an immersive experience or an experiment, they're using a different clock. We called that the game clock theory or the testing clock theory. Or the time change theory, that time it actually changed in the mall, and each hour in the mall, no. Well, we couldn't figure out this one. It was like, each day in the mall was 1 hour of real mechanical time. Or each day we were experiencing, like our body clocks, which also lined up with a digital watch on Boyd's body, or Santos's body. So... each 24 hours on Santos's watch that we experienced as 24 hours was only 1 day in the mall, 1 hour in the mall. Now we said, then we were trying to figure out what it meant. Then we decided it didn't really mean anything because it's like, we just got to get out of here. Then we're trying the door at the clock shop or Cuckoo for Cuckoo clocks. I'll be honest, too. I'm not proud of this, but we did break a few Cuckoo clocks because we were strongly frustrated. And it was actually during the breaking of the Cuckoo clocks that the breaking of the Cuckoo clocks, I don't know why that sticks with me as a term, but, when you break something, it can be loud. When you're breaking it on a floor of a Cuckoo clock store or the floor of the mall or against a planter fountain and, kind of like in movies, she's saying, I'm going cuckoo because of these cuckoo clocks. And I'll be honest, so your hearing becomes very acute. So then you think you hear stuff after we got done breaking the stuff, because you say, well, now we're going to be in trouble, right? You're not supposed to just go into a store and break their clocks. So then we were like, okay, I don't know, yeah, you're right. We should take accountability for breaking the clocks. And again, so I think we all took turns carrying these theories, but by the experiment theory or the immersive game theory, that was also the right move. So it was also soothing. Or by, if our parents are watching us, which was not that was a low percentile theory. Like, what if what if this is something, what if this is my scholarship thing and there's a video feed and they're watching us, or we are on a TV show? But also it's just wrong, and there would have been consequences. And, we wouldn't have probably done it I don't think we would have done I don't know. But, would have been consequences. So we was like, okay, we'll have to pay for these clocks. So we started writing a note, and Josie was handling that because Josie worked at Tiki Transistor Hut. And that's when I said, wait a second, I do hear something. And and then said, yeah, going cuckoo from the cuckoo clocks. Because, all those cuckoo clocks clicking and clacking are pretty loud. And then the breaking of the cuckoo clocks was loud. But there was something about that, and maybe the relief of, okay, we're doing the right thing by most theories here with these clocks, that I heard something else. And they were like, what does it sound like? And I said, it sounds like I don't know, hold on. And I listened again because I didn't have a quite way to describe what it sounded like, which was something like making a sound with your lips and your lungs, and like it was a humanish sound. And I was like, well, it could be one of the clocks. And they said, well, what does it sound like? Like a cuckoo? No. It sounds like when somebody's sleeping on a cartoon. And we said, what do you mean sleeping on a cartoon? And we all made the sound. And then everybody said, I hear it. It does sound like somebody's sleeping in a cartoon and snoring. And, you've probably seen it before. And then we started to walk around the store trying to figure out where this thing was coming from, this sound of a cartoon sleeping. Because maybe somebody was watching, I don't know. And then there was some giant grandfather cuckoo clocks. I don't know what you call them. Like large ones in the back of the store for people that wanted giant clocks, even bigger than, and then the very large cuckoo clocks or fancy clocks. And of course, now not the biggest one, but the second biggest one was where the sound was coming from the inside base of the clock. And then everything's ticking, but everything's ticking at a little, it wasn't like the whole store was like one synchronous breath of ticking clocks. It was more staccato. And also we need to wrap this up before the next hour, because then it was going to be who'd want to be in that store. And then it became somewhat comedic because we got closer and closer. It was like a cartoon sleeping sound or a Three Stooges sleeping sound coming from the inside of this clock. So we were pushing each other and pointing and trying to be quiet. And, disagreeing. And finally, I just said, okay, forget it. And there's a knob on there, right? Because I don't know what you got to do inside of there. But, it turns out it was empty. It wasn't empty. But it was a large empty space that when we opened it up, it was quite a surprise. There was some pillows on the floor or the base of it, and curled up, for a brief split second, curled up, sleeping soundly, was yet another thing that would support either the testing theory, the secret TV show theory, or the immersive theater experience theory. There was and I guess it fit in with everything that happened. There was I don't know if you call it a serial mascot, but it was Crunch Commander. I mean, one of the biggest serial celebrities, Crunch Commander, Crunch Commander Crunch, one of the biggest serials out there. who is, oh, maybe you don't, not familiar. I'm thinking, I keep forgetting. You don't even know what most of you never saw what public access TV is. Maybe Serial's different when you're listening to this, or you just consume Serial differently than I did. So what is it? What could you research? So there was like these shows called H&R Puff and stuff. In other shows, that probably won't do it. Like, cause Crunch Commander was a commander of, like commander, like Crunch Commander, you'd say commander. And, say, I command you to eat a breakfast that covers, like it was always themed to kids who wanted to be a part of, like join Commander Crunch on these adventures, Commander Crunch's adventures. But it was different seeing it in person because we'd seen Commander Crunch animated before, never asleep and briefly cute. But also it's kind of like a giant hat with like a giant anthropomorphized commander hat, a generic commander of everything. So almost like a helmet, but with legs and arms and a nose and, the whole thing. Like, but it was real in front of us. And that was, but our first introduction to Commander Crunch was very cute, because then even when the light shone in, Commander Crunch kind of shook out of sleep and then like stretched like these little arms and legs, and kind of like it was like a kitten, and then tumbled out and then looked up at us and blinked at their eyes. And then, then it was like we were in a commercial, which we had all, other than Boyd, we'd watched a lot of Commander Crunch commercials and adventures. And we'd even as kids, we talked about, but like Commander Crunch says, it's just like a very thing like you'd expect. It goes, a breakfast cereal, and then Commander Crunch does a salute. That means like stand at attention. And so we all did that except for Boyd. And then Commander Crunch kind of walked up and down the line and kind of gave Boyd a look and said, good morning, recruits. Kind of went through the kind of like familiar structure of the like cereal commercials we were familiar with. And then, kind of put us at ease at the same time as being like, that's a real Commander Crunch. And then Commander Crunch, started pulling stuff out like a chalkboard and a pointer, out of the cuckoo clock, and said, take a knee, recruits, and started to tell us, Commander Crunch, need your help. Are you willing to help me? And like the thing had the mall on it. It was like a chalkboard with a map of the mall. Again, some of this was like, maybe we're in a commercial. Maybe this is some long dream. But Commander Crunch, said any questions, after kind of a brief review of like where we are. Like, your mission is to help Commander Crunch. I've been watching you. So Commander Crunch knew what had already happened at the mall. Like, it propped us up of how good a job we were doing helping, that we needed to continue helping. And the Commander Crunch, alluded to the fact we would be compensated for this. I guess, Commander Crunch threw a whole lot of information at us, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But it was information without details. But then Commander Crunch said, do you have any questions? And a lot of the questions we had were like, wait a second, what, what questions might you have for me? What do you mean compensated? Well, Commander Crunch said, because we're helping Commander Crunch's friends get back to their cereal spaces, like we would be compensated for each one of those because we were a part of that. And like, so we'd get paid for that. And I don't know, there was a lot of details, but the biggest detail was like, is any of this real or possible? Are we dreaming? Is this, we threw all of our theories at Commander Crunch. And Commander Crunch just walked back and forth, looking at us like, and I don't know, I mean, I guess it's strange to say that like a serial based on, like maybe before our time, right? I don't know the history of Commander Crunch, to be honest with you. I only know our history with Commander Crunch was started this day. Commander Crisp either. I can't believe I had the name. It's Commander Crisp. Maybe it went from Commander Crunch to Commander Crisp. I can't remember. That's funny. But, like that we were put to ease, but it was like, suddenly we were in a serial chain of command, which was something we were familiar with, based on it being raised on a shared mythology, at least the three of us. And Boyd was pretty quick, so Boyd picked up on all of it. So even though there was this sense of unrealness, right, and even though it was strange seeing serial hero, I don't know, it wasn't a mascot, though. Like a character, serial story character, Commander Crisp, Commander Crunch, Crispy Commander. Maybe those were two different characters, or maybe they changed names. I don't know. Anyway, details aren't, but here's the thing. The reason it was so, like, Commander Crisp, Crispy Commander. Oh, yeah, Commander Crunch, the Crispy Commander, Commander Crunch. That's what it is. Sorry, folks. So, sometimes these things escape me. But so we said, we basically got down to it. And this is where Commander Crunch explained, this is all real. Now, I know this is going to seem strange, but I know you figured out the time thing, right? And I'm just going to explain it as simply as I can because it's beyond your understanding. But this is all real. The time has slowed down here. So you're going to be fine. Like, you're going to help me. You're going to get rewarded for helping me. You're doing the right thing, helping these other, like, I don't know why it's happening. But, these movies start and the character from the movie ends up here and they need help. And they need you to help them because they've gotten to resolve everything. And they're resolving themselves when you're helping reach a resolution, they're becoming a part of my serial family. And Commander Crunch said, I've been here for a while, like not just when I was here before all this started, because we've been waiting for someone that could help us. And I have everything set up. The cereal business is a real thing, right? These are new cereals, like not even as they're not going to be a part of the Commander Crunch family, the Crispy Commanders. This is going to be this whole new thing, and you'll be a part of it. You'll own a part of this. But we said, wait a second, like, so you're real? Like, we're not little kids anymore. Like, this is not possible. We're trying to figure out which of these theories it is. Among these minor theories and the major ones we have, because nothing else would make sense. And Commander Crunch said, well, this might not make sense, but this is really what's happening. And Commander Crunch explained to us, which I've heard in other ways explained, in other things, other adventures that I've heard other people go on, real and imagined. And this was a theory that many of you may be familiar with because the person that was helping me figure out how to record these messages has experienced this firsthand as well. That's our connection, is the transverse plane. And a transverse plane is a thing where, as I understood when it was being explained to me, is where universes like don't just come together by accident or connect together by accident. They touch on each other, like kind of like two pieces of mist touching on each other, but for a reason. And Commander Crispy kind of understood this, Commander Crunch, Crispy Commander. And that there was a reason why these universes. So the transverse plane is the plane we're on in our world, right? And that there's just these places, and this mall just happened to be one of these places. And we were asked, has it always been that way? Or is it Commander Crunch said, I don't know. Like, I just know how long I've been here. Is it like a post-earthly exist? I don't know the answer. Post-earthly exists. All I know is it's real. And this is happening, and it's this is probably intentional in some way when the transverse plane's involved, because people on both ends of the plane need each other's help. We said, so I need the money, and we need to get out of the mall, obviously, before the end of the weekend, ideally sooner. But yeah, I'll get my scout, and we could all use money, right? And this adventure these characters from these movies, that movie never ends well for the character in the movie. And in their mind, they're misunderstood, even though in the movie, it's not a misunderstanding. But as us outside of the movie, it's a misunderstanding. So even though we couldn't quite understand how a transverse plane was possible, it was like where worlds temporarily intersect because someone on each side of those worlds is in need. And that's when things can cross over between the two worlds. And that's kind of was reassuring to hear because, I don't know, it gives you a sense of purpose, which having Commander Crunch there, really kind of helped, qualify that it had a specific purpose, that we had missions now. We had completed 2 missions, and that it was for good, and that only good was involved. Reminds me of old Emma Otter, all will be well. And I don't know, but then Commander Crunch said, will you take out, are you willing to join me? And help me complete these tasks as a present, and get on these missions, and, join whatever, become a part of the Crispy Command or chain of command. And we had more will you be our commanding officer? And I said, well, you're going to be a team, specialized team, team of helpers. But Boyd said, well, we got to talk about it and think about it. And so we got together, and Boyd said, let's all just sit quietly and take a break. Maybe when I had that in my head, all will be well. And Boyd said, not think about what just happened for a little while, and then discuss what we want to do and how we want to proceed. So we did that. We took some quiet time and just rested quietly. But for me, I knew all would be well. We were on the transverse plane or connected to it. I didn't understand it. In fact, it wasn't even an important part of this story. It just it calmed what was happening. And I guess it gave us an answer. And the answer was to do the right thing. So that's where we were, and we were taking a break. And I'll take a break now, too, and I'll get back to you with the rest of this tale soon. All will be well. Good night, everybody. All right, I want to thank everybody that moved over from Patreon to Sleep With Me Plus or signed up for Sleep With Me Plus directly. Really appreciate it. Couldn't do it without all of you. Leah, Sherilyn, and Colin, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Laura, Julianne, and Darlene, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Amy, Walter, and Lisa, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Andrew, Matthew, and Kimberly, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Danielle, Darlene, and Valerie, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Beverly, Melissa, and Ashley, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Matthew, Elvin, and Catherine, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Peter, Karen, and Ethan, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Robert, Michelle, and Victoria, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Catherine, Susan, and Evelyn, Thanks, and good night. Couldn't do without all of you that support the show directly on Sleep With Me Plus or Apple Podcasts, or used to support the show on Patreon. And, so thank you so much for supporting the show. And you can support the show for free, too. Join our referral program, sleepwithmepodcast.com/refer. And, appreciate it. Couldn't do without all of you. And what do you say we slow it down and get on with the show?
Most people don't realize how much of their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions pulling details about you from public records and the internet, then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, all backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it together at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/safer. Protect yourself now at aura.com/safer.